Everybody, welcome to the show tonight. We got a crazy one. Trump is planning to overhaul the DOJ focus and just completely obliterate the DOJ and the FBI. Says President Trump will be firing the entire team who worked with the Jack Smith special counsel to pursue political witch hunts against him per WAPO. On top of that, so reform the FBI, reform the DOJ. On top of that, Elon Musk considers buying MSNBC amid Comcast spinoff plans. This is huge. This would be $7 billion. It would cost him a lot less than Twitter. But, so we've got a lot of crazy things that are happening. We've also got where now that Trump and Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, have been working through, they've uncovered a lot of evidence about the FBI and the DOJ that has made them furious. Trump is now saying he's looking into dismantling the FBI/DOJ as well and overhauling it. He said that they have been infringing on Americans' rights and used for political weaponization, and it can't happen moving forward, be used by Democrats nor Republicans. And there is literally campaigns going on right now to try and deter more people that are strong-willed like Matt Gaetz from taking Trump's nominations. Money is being thrown at them left and right to try and keep great people like Cash, everybody's saying Cash for to be over the FBI director spot, away from Trump's team. On top of that, we are now hearing reports that Kamala and some of her teams want to invoke the 25th Amendment on Biden, causing concern for his age and cognitive ability. I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. Now she wants to, right at the very end, take the presidency and run with it. On top of that, North Korean troops are set to start fighting in the Russia-Ukraine war, and it's all Joe Biden's fault. The escalation is pushing us closer to World War III, where there are some leadership officials that are saying that we're already there. And last but not least, I've already showed you, but Elon Musk is reportedly looking into the cost of purchasing MSNBC with Donald Trump. There's a lot more reports coming out for this $7 billion price tag of this media platform, but they said it could help them reach a different audience and take back mainstream media. Let me know your thoughts on this. Just want to say thank you so much for everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every single day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help to grow the channel. And thank you so much to all of our members already killing it in the chat. If you want to join the True Life News fam, the link is in the description to join, as well as the link to follow me on X. And just want to say thank you to everybody that has given a super chat donation. We are so grateful. In the show earlier today, we did our giveaway to Wounded Warriors, which is a veterans charity where we want to help give back in this Thanksgiving time, and we're going to be doing another one. Remember, every single month we're giving back with the super chat donations and with the members fees. Guys, thank y'all so much for your support, but check this out because things are getting crazy right now. Check this out.
I'm wondering if your father, President-elect Trump, has spoken with President Zelensky or President Putin since Joe Biden gave Ukraine permission to fire U.S. missiles at Russia on Sunday.
You know, I haven't heard about it, but I saw that, and I mean, it's absolute insanity. It's like they're trying to settle my father with World War III by trying to allow this escalation to continue. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Striking the world's largest nuclear superpower by, volume of nuclear warheads with missiles capable of reaching Moscow. They understand that Trump can actually achieve peace. They want to make sure we keep this war going for no other reason, I guess, other than to enrich the military-industrial complex in Washington, D.C. that understands that the gravy train stops very quickly.
How concerned are you that the Biden team is doing this all deliberately to hurt your father, the incoming president?
I mean, what other like plausible solution is there? I mean, they understand. They saw Russia's comment about it. Maybe it's time we talk about peace. We'd be welcome to that. They saw Zelensky's initial commentary, and all of a sudden they're sending capabilities to Ukraine that they don't have that could only escalate. It's not going to change the war. It's not like it's going to win it for them in the next 50 days. That ain't going to happen. We understand that. The only thing it could possibly do is escalate and aggravate, again, the world's largest nuclear superpower. If Putin feels threatened, if a man of that mentality feels threatened, and he's already said they've changed the level at which they would strike back with nuclear capability, you know, what other plausible solution is it? That they would rather see World War III than allow my father to be able to achieve peace in a region that only he could probably achieve peace. And I bet he does it quickly.
Yeah, your father got a mandate 2 weeks ago on Election Day, won the Electoral College, won the popular vote, won all 7 battleground states. A lame duck president has never done this, escalated a war in a lame duck period. I know you've got children, I've got children. I'm concerned that we're not going to make it to January 20th intact for your father to end this war. That's a real concern for a lot of people right now.
That is a real concern. And unfortunately, there's so many rhinos, even Republicans in Washington, D.C., who have been telling me for years that Ukraine is the #1 issue for Republicans across the country. You know, I've spoken to a lot of Republicans across the country, over 100,000. I've done the survey live as I'm speaking to audiences of 5,000, 10,000 people, 300 here, whatever it may be, over 100,000 people. And basically, thus far, 0 people. One person was from Ukraine, so I gave him a pass. He said it was a top 10 issue for him, but it wasn't a top 3 issue. We could end this thing right now. We could end the ridiculous funds. We could take the $250 billion that we have sent there, plus probably the other $250 billion that the Pentagon lost, that they can't account for, that has been funding this as a kickback to big war, as a kickback to Raytheon, where all these generals who've been aggravating the war because that's where they want to retire. That's going to be their board package. That's their very lucrative off-ramp out of the military. That is exactly what's going on here. So to enrich a couple of people in America at the expense of the American public, at the expense of your and my children eventually, to go fight a war that no one in Washington, D.C. has even been able to articulate to me what victory even looks like. They will do this. They will try to saddle my father with World War III, and then the media will run around, and the Democrats, it was Donald Trump's war. This is all his fault. It's absolutely disgusting what's going on. I mean, this is like a bad Tom Clancy movie. It's happening before our eyes, and it's so unnecessary. The American public should be outraged. I think they were. We saw that on November 5th. But the problem is you have that lame duck session for about 3 months where the Democrats are going to keep their never-ending war rhetoric continuing, and they're going to get us all in a lot of trouble. That's not just America or Russia. That's the entire world is going to suffer the consequences of Democrat insanity. That's what we're witnessing bear forth before our very eyes right now.
Yeah, 2 messages. One for President Zelensky, don't you dare fire another U.S. missile at Russia. And then a message for President Putin would be restraint. In 59 days, the adults will finally, after 4 years, be back in the room. I hope that President-elect Trump does reach out to both presidents between now and then, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm wondering if...
Guys, and I'm telling you this, right now with what's going on in Ukraine with Russia, it's not getting better. This is breaking. North Korean troops massed in Russia to enter Ukraine war soon. This is from a Pentagon chief. Like, this stuff is 100% coming our way. And the sad thing about it is that it's literally so close to being just Donald Trump actually being the leader of the free world. That's how crazy it is. Sandro Mario Enzi, thank you so much for this super chat. Let's go. Said, pray for our country continuously. Amen. Y'all show Sanders some love in the chat. What he was talking about, guys, I'm telling you, the more and more I see stuff, the more and more I'm like, the Republican Party has been led by rhinos for a long, long time. Look at this video and tell me this was the leader for us. And tell me this guy, it was him?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Watch this. Nobody's home. This is even worse than Biden. And this was supposed to be the leader for the Senate for the Republicans? Judy Lynn Loving Spirit, thank you so much for giving the news membership.
Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your press? Do you want to say anything else to the press?
See this?
Go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it back. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
Look, they're having to escort him out. You cannot make this stuff up. Y'all show Judy Lynn Loving Spirit some love in the chat, everybody. That's why they're literally doing so much to try and retain their power, and it's bad, y'all. Look at this.
They want to drain Trump's political bank account right now, and I'm not talking about money. The left is afraid that the popular mandate Donald Trump had is going to give him unprecedented political power to move the country back in the direction of freedom and liberty. Does that make sense? I can't go forward if you don't understand what I'm saying. They're afraid they have no story now. They can't say he didn't win the popular vote. They can't say it wasn't a mandate. So now they're just going to make it up. And I've already seen this morning, they're like, Donald Trump's momentum's gone. Matt Gaetz is out. Trump is finished. We cannot let them create a story from the story. It is up to us to pound the table. You have the facts. We have the facts. Pound the facts. When you have the facts and can pound the table too, then pound the freaking table too. I need you guys to get loud on Twitter and everywhere else because people listen. Here's their new narrative. Put up that Politico thing. Calling Trump's win resounding isn't just wrong. It's risky. No,
Red alert.
Trump's win was resounding. We won the popular vote. We swept every single swing state. We took 4 Senate seats back. Even after redistricting, we still kept the House. We won state houses back. It was a resounding victory. You see how? Did we not tell you? Did we not tell you? Did we not say last week, Michael, do you remember the show? What did we say? They're going to start putting out the narrative. Oh my gosh, this Trump victory really wasn't that impressive. The Nelson Muntz style. New York Times. Look, you find it weird, folks? All at the same time, the narrative comes out. Gaetz went down. Trump has no power. Trump's victory was nothing. Trump wasn't have a landslide. Look, the landslide that wasn't. Trump and allies pump up his narrow victory. It was not narrow. We
won
kicked
every
your
swing
ass
state.
in every single swing state.
Sorry,
we told
y'all.
you defund the police and men in the women's room was a stupid freaking idea. We told you to close the border and stop printing money. You gave us the double-barrel middle finger, did you not? Therefore, we fought back with Donald Trump and we won. Do not let them take over with this narrative. You have the power now. You're in charge. It's getting a little already after this resounding victory. What is that? I saw my friend Dilly, what he says, the doomers. The doomers are already out there. Oh my gosh, it's over. We lost Gaetz. Oh my, what the lesson? Shut up! Stop the bullshit. It was exactly what you saw last week and a couple weeks ago. It was a kick-ass victory, and yes, you should celebrate it. We haven't even started the fun yet. I promise you the fun's just begun. I want to get one other thing out of the way, too. Mike Rogers, there was a rumor, and it was a rumor, was in the running for the FBI director slot. I strongly endorse Kash Patel for that spot. Deep state operatives on social media are trying to get Mike Rogers in there, and they're playing people for fools. If you fell for that, I can't help you. This is not your show, okay? If you fell for the online campaign through deep state accounts on X, and you know who they are, to get Mike Rogers in there, you got suckered. I don't know Mike Rogers. I don't want to know Mike Rogers. Dan Scavino, who has, I mean, if anyone has Trump's ear, it's him. He's going to be his deputy chief of staff. Dan Scavino has already said this is not happening. Now, how do I know? What has 2 thumbs and is always right about deep state campaigns? This guy. I told you there was a social media campaign to get Kash out of there and get this guy in. Okay, Rogers. A lot of you didn't believe me. Now you're seeing it. How do we know Rogers was going to be the wrong pick for the FBI? Because of the Dan Bongino axiomatic theory of measuring your opponent's reactions. If your political enemies like Spygate Captain Andy McCabe love Mike Rogers, then what should you do? Chatsters, bring it, kids. We should not like him then. You are correct. Here's Deep State Andy McCabe. Like, yeah, man, Mike Rogers would be awesome.
He is someone who's experienced at the FBI. He just ran for Senate in Michigan and almost won. Lost to Alyssa Slotkin there. If Trump named him as the next FBI director, how would you feel about that?
Keelan, I think Mike Rogers is a totally reasonable, logical selection for FBI director. If in fact that's the decision President-elect Trump makes.
You see, folks in the chat, I need your help here. I do. This is serious. I'm not trying. Serious deep state online influencer campaign to stop Kash Patel from shaking up the FBI. I know this for a fact. They want their guy in there. Yep. And they are going to do anything to get him in there. Now you hear Andy McCabe, the guy who ran the FBI with Comey when they spied on Trump, going, that's our guy. You don't hear him talking about Kash Patel, do you?
Dang.
Oh, they're talking about Kash Patel. What are they saying? Get this motherfucker out of there right away. We don't want him in there. Guys, please, man, I'm not wasting your time. I love you guys a lot, man. You mean the world to me. I promise you, man, I ain't doing this shit no more. You can go look that stuff up. I'm just trying to help. I don't want anything from anyone. I'm not asking for anything. Please trust me. I'm not saying Kash is the only guy. There are other guys that Kash, I think, is the best guy. He gets it. He's been public about it. He put his reputation on the line about it.
Yeah.
This is not personal. Rogers was not the guy. There is a big-time social media campaign. Anybody hiding on there, pretending like, oh, yeah, this guy. And I can't say this enough. I am all for anonymity online. You have not. That's not what this is about. It's about pretending to be one of us and hiding behind anonymity. That's my only issue. I want to be absolutely clear on that. I don't want anybody, you don't want to tell anybody that is your business. That's why I advertise VPNs and everything else. I am all for it. Free speech, anonymous free speech, 100%. I just don't want you working for the deep state, effing with our people and pretending you're one of us. And you know what you're doing. Please trust me. All right. And
that's honestly, guys, remember, like this stuff is real. Like these charts, all this data that we're getting now, I showed this earlier today, but I want to show you it again because to me, it is so telling. How is it that if Washington, D.C. is the richest area per capita, that tells you how important the Department of Government Efficiency is? How is it that the richest place per GDP per capita in the United States is Washington, D.C.? Well, isn't that where all the politicians work at? Well, yes. Also, isn't it where all the politicians whose salaries are like $120,000 a year, $150,000 a year? If you're the Speaker of the House, I think you make like $180,000 a year. How is the average 259, almost 260? Corruption. Things have gone too far. And this is where Trump says DOJ has to take effect. The FBI has to be overhauled. DOJ has to be overhauled. Look at this. The U.S. average right here is 81,600. It's Washington, D.C. is literally higher than New York. This is how corrupt things have gotten, guys. I'm telling you. And when you look at these people that are trying to cover it up, check this out. They want to protect what they have. Denver Mayor Mike Johnson says he will deploy cops, 50,000 volunteer citizens in the Tiananmen Square moment to stop President Trump's mass deportation plans. Like, you can't make this up. What these government people are, what some of these mayors are saying. But again, too, what's crazy is that they're trying to defend, and then you've got this, Democratic Mayor Adams, who calls for the involuntary removal of people who are a danger to others on the streets. He said, I'm tired of people getting stabbed. I'm tired of people losing their lives, mentally ill, homeless people out there. We're just going to go and create a law where we can involuntarily take them off the streets. That's literally where we're at right now. Like, I mean, I'm telling you, the whole thing is switching up. And like right now, Trump is really focused on dismantling the deep state. And who has he put in place? It's, have you heard of him? His name is Stephen Miller. This guy is ready to take on and just do away with everything. Check this out.
Stephen Miller, I don't think I get a chance to congratulate you on air, so congratulations.
Thank you. It's our first time being together since this historic landslide victory, so it's great to be with you under such jubilant circumstances.
Jubilant for some. If you're Joy Reid, not so.
Andy, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Andy some love in the chat. He said, if Kamala takes the Oval Office, nobody's going to remove her. This communist has superiority complex syndrome and will President Trump. I'm telling you this. I think they're going to try, but I don't think it's too close. I don't think that she's going to get in there.
Jubilant. She's thinking your uncle's going to narc on you.
all of the right people are unhappy, and all of the right people are absolutely overjoyed.
Yes.
And that's when you know if a pick is good. If someone likes a nomination that you don't like, you're like, oh no. But if someone's freaking out, you're like, that's the guy.
Yes, that's always the tell.
So where are you now in terms of this transition? It looks like Gaetz is gone, Bondi's in, and it should be smooth sailing. How are you seeing things?
Well, President Trump has assembled, as I'm sure you've seen, Jesse, the most transformative set of cabinet secretaries in American history. I mean, RFK, who's going to take on the deep state at HHS, take on the corruption in medicine, and make America truly and actually healthy again. You mentioned Pam Bondi. I've known Pam for years. She's a close friend. Look, people know that she has sterling credentials, amazing, unparalleled intellect. But here's what people may not know that I know. She is tough as nails. You want an AG who's going to take down the cartels, take down the migrant gangs, who's going to use the 70,000 law enforcement officers at DOJ to get rid of the foreign criminal enterprises in this country? That's Pam Bondi. This is the AG that is going to help President Trump deliver on his promise to liberate America. President Trump has also announced a transformative pick for OMB, Russ Vought, that just came out. Russ Vought, nobody, and I don't mean there's any competition here. Russ Vought has been the guy for the last 4 years who's been developing the plan to take down the deep state. That's Russ. And he's going to be right there at OMB to execute that plan. This is really incredible stuff, Jesse. I know these people.
This
is exactly what America voted for.
Let's go.
Take us inside this transition. You were appointed pretty early in this process. As you see people come on board, are you calling? Are you already talking strategy? What's the conversation like inside?
Well, President Trump has assembled, in addition to what you're seeing publicly announced, he's assembled a world-class policy team behind the scenes that's working every day to put together the day one executive actions and executive orders that are going to implement every single one of his campaign promises, whether you're talking about public health, whether you're talking about the national invasion and emergency on our southern border, whether you're talking about the diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, whether you're talking about getting men out of women's sports, out of women's bathrooms, out of women's locker rooms, right? All the things that President Trump barnstormed the country campaigning on are now being put at his direction and order and instruction into written form so that the first day, the first week, the first 100 days will be a bolt of lightning. And all of the policies, reforms that Americans have been begging for and pleading for and asking for, President Trump is going to deliver.
Let's go.
One after another, after another. The swamp, the deep state, and the communists will not know what hit them.
So, Miller, when the pen hits the paper on the EO on day one, on immigration, tell us what some of those executive actions are going to look like on day one.
Well, I can't reveal everything now. There has to be some anticipation. But what
Give
I
us
can
a little
say,
tease. Show us a little leg, Miller.
What I can say is this: as President Trump has said, on day one, the southern border slams shut to illegal immigration. So all the illegal aliens all over the world who've been taking a free ride at America's expense for 4 years, guess what? You show up, you're not getting in, you're not getting through, you're not getting released, you're not going to any city anywhere in America. The only thing you're getting, courtesy of the U.S. taxpayer, is a flight back home. Goodbye, see you later, not coming in. And then on top of that, of course, as has been much discussed, ICE, Homeland Security investigations, and as I mentioned, the core elements of the Department of Justice are going to launch deportation sweeps to get these criminal gangs out of our country. So we're going to liberate, under President Trump's direction as commander-in-chief, his plan and his vision, we are going to liberate one town after another. And for that alone, President Trump should be carved to Mount Rushmore for what he's about to do to set American cities free.
Well, I think Nancy said Joe is going on Mount Rushmore. They're going to have to maybe take a different pickaxe and fight for it up there. Tell me one more thing about these guys resisting in these cities. They're saying it's a sanctuary city, Miller. These Democrat resistance fighters are going to say, we're going to line up cops around the block, and if Jose raped a kid, we're going to let him stay. We don't want anybody kicking him out and sending him home. What is that going to look like?
Well, for one thing, I can promise you, police officers in these cities are going to be desperate to work with, to work alongside federal law enforcement officer to clean out these nests of criminal aliens. The president has the endorsement, as you know, of the Fraternal Order of Police. No one's had more support from sheriffs, law enforcement, rank and file police. I promise you, when the liberators show up, when they roll up in their federal law enforcement uniforms with those vests, the local police are going to join them arm in arm to get the migrant killers, gang members, and drug dealers out of the country.
Yes.
They will be the first in line. They will be handing over these criminal migrants to federal law enforcement, and where they have to go into the homes, they'll be right there alongside them, because these police officers, I don't care what these mayors say, these cops, they know who the criminals are threatening their cities. And when federal law enforcement under President Trump's directions on day one roll up into those cities and roll out into those gang nests, the local cops are going to be right there with them saying, we are here to help you get them out. The mayors are going to lose this fight, the sanctuary mayors, and they're going to lose it badly, Jason.
And one of the ways you can do it, too, is just dangle the money, because they need federal cash to survive, especially Democrat mayors. So if you're going to be a sanctuary city to criminals and people don't belong here, why are we giving you all this money if you're not cooperating with the mass deportation?
100%.
That money should go away.
I'm telling you, everybody, I hate to interrupt, but you always follow the money. You cut off the supply of this money from the federal government to these sanctuary cities, you'll see how quickly fast they'll cooperate with helping out the local police, helping out the federal government to get the criminals out. The criminals we have to get them out. We can't have no more Lake and Rileys in the United States.
Right? Yes. President Trump's been very clear. Every federal lever, including financial, will be used to end sanctuary cities' defiance and absolute shirking of their constitutional and legal duties. The federal government has supremacy on immigration enforcement without even a question. This is settled law. The federal government is the entity that has the final say on immigration enforcement. And if these states continue to shield, as they have, people that are raping and murdering children, every federal tool at President Trump's disposal will be used to bring these cities into compliance. And let me tell you something, Jesse. The American people will cheer. They will cheer. They will celebrate. When their parks are clean and safe for the little kids, when there aren't rapists that are trying to menace innocent girls and children where they can send their kids to school without having to worry about train de Aragua or MS-13, where they can take a stroll in the evening on a warm, beautiful night and not have to worry about getting crushed in the skull by someone stalking up behind them who doesn't even belong in our country, they will cheer. Not just Republicans, independents, Democrats, Americans all over the country will say, thank God that President Trump is in the Oval Office and is saving our cities from the people that were brought into the country under Joe Biden who do not belong here. The criminals who came out of these other countries, they're fugitives, they're killers, they're inmates. They're going to be set up on planes and they're going to be flown back to wherever they came from.
An inspiring bellow from Stephen Miller on the eve of Thanksgiving. Wow.
I love it, y'all. Thank y'all. I mean, when I think about the support that we're moving towards of getting the truth out there, guys, I love it because to those that are sharing on X, one of somebody's just popped up. Guys, y'all are awesome. As we continue to put out the truth, I mean, look at this. Remember how we reported on this show that they put Tulsi Gabbard on the terror watch list. And now she's literally going to be in charge of the national intelligence agencies. So think about it like this. This is CNN breaking the news, even though Tulsi already said it, that she was briefly placed on the government watch list for overseas travel and foreign connections earlier this year. She told us about it, but now Trump has actually put her in charge of the whole dang thing to make sure that we continue to get the a fair treatment across the board. On top of that, check this out. Guys, I'm telling you, this is desperate. If I was a Democrat, I'd feel ashamed of this, but I'm not. But this is the thing. The Harris campaign sent out this email because they don't know how to manage money. They spent over $1 billion and still lost. Look at this. We were honestly hoping for a better after launching our Fight Fund program. So look at this chart here. The middle one right here is the right before the election. And then after, this is the blue represents like the money. Check this out. The money started going down and nobody wants to give. And they're still sending out emails trying to get people to give them money because Kamala went and spent all this billions of dollars. I mean, over $1 billion. She's $20 million in debt. And remember, they gave it all to the celebrities. It is such a joke right now where the Democratic Party is at, where they're losing so badly, but they're still trying to fight Trump. They're still trying to fight his team. And I feel like the American people, more than ever, are watching less of MSNBC. They're watching less of, NBC, CBS, and all them because they're tired of the lies. Check this out. Oh.
So it's 2024. So of course we're looking forward to 2028. All right, now bear with me. It's clear to us that a growing number of never-Trumpers, the anti-Trump media, neoliberals, are trying to convince themselves, and you, that Trump's victory wasn't as significant as conservatives would have you believe.
If you look at the raw vote from 2020, he's still off of what Biden got by a good long ways. And
Donald Trump won the presidency with 49% of the vote, 48% of the vote. We lost with 47% of the vote.
Did he win an election? Yes. Did he win a mandate? I don't believe so. It was a
The New York Times pinged out the same message today in a column by Peter Baker titled "The Landslide That Wasn't." Baker pointed out that Trump won with one of the smallest margins of victory in the popular vote since the 19th century, and that Trump World is selling the illusion of a landslide in order to ram through Trump's agenda. Well, first, what incoming president doesn't use his victory as a reason to enact his policies? Isn't that the entire point of running and winning? Second, and the press knows this, it's not just the number of votes that Trump received, which is impressive. It's where he got them, from whom, and what he had to overcome to get them.
He's expanded demographically the Republican coalition, the coalition that elected Trump in this election. It is younger, it's more blue collar, and it's more diverse than any Republican coalition really in modern political history.
Yeah, modern political history. And as independent journalist Glenn Greenwald noted on X, Trump won a higher percentage of votes in New York City than any Republican candidate since George Herbert Walker Bush in 1988,
Wow.
36 years ago. Now that is huge. It turns out issues actually mattered to these Trump voters. And we all know the problems that New York is facing because of Democrat policies.
You take a look at outside the battleground where Trump made some of his biggest gains. They were in states like New Jersey and New York and California, big blue states. He didn't win any of them, but he made big gains because of this kind of a shift.
Democrats can continue with their fantasy thinking, minimizing the shift toward the GOP among Latinos and African Americans, among even young people and urban voters. But Democrats are just hurting their own party. And we can never forget that Trump did all of this while being outspent 3 or 4 to 1, and while he was being pummeled by venal, agenda-driven journalists with the most defamatory slurs that were then amplified by other leftists who are rarely right, but never in doubt. And perhaps most impressive was Trump's victory despite being relentlessly hounded by political hatchet men and women in our legal system. More on the big news from Judge Merchan later in the show. But again, the key here is why they're trying to ride the idea that, well, they didn't lose by that much. Because that narrative suggests the Democrats really don't believe they need to make big changes to their approach.
That is crazy.
Certainly not to the issues that people care about most. Why should they? The victory wasn't that big for the Republicans. If they only lost because Biden dropped out late, or because Trump's appeal is sui generis, or because Harris wasn't a good communicator, then what they face as a party is really, if that's their thinking, just a personality or maybe a comms problem. Well, the problem, of course, with that is they were wrong on substance, wrong on the economy, wrong on war, wrong on the culture, and wrong on the border. And the results for innocent Americans have been heartbreaking. Do you think that Laken Riley's mother thinks Democrats just have a comms problem given what happened to her daughter?
It's so
This is
sad.
how a mother reacts when she learns that something horrible has happened to her beautiful daughter.
Okay, let's step up here. Come on, let's go. It's not good. I don't want to tell you yes or no because I don't have names. I don't know who anybody is. But I do know that this is a pretty serious incident.
This is one of the main reasons Trump won.
Yes.
He felt their pain. He felt their rage. Riley was murdered by an illegal alien, Jose Ibarra, and the incoming border czar, he knows the anguish as well because he's seen this play out too many times, courtesy of politicians who don't give a damn.
I've seen so much tragedy. I've talked to hundreds of angels and moms and dads who buried their children because they're killed by illegal alien. This is the latest. You know, I've talked to little girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by members of cartel. When you look in her eyes and everything innocent and pure has been ripped from her soul, and her life will never be the same. I mean, it's just, I'm tired of it.
Now, Democrats can't respond to this story or any others like it because they've become so accustomed to standing up for the rights of the illegals.
Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those
I think it's
families
really,
an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
Those are tragic cases, but there is no but. And there's no apology forthcoming now, not from her and not from the Democrat Party.
It's so stupid.
Their so-called post-November 5th autopsy should include a close examination of the autopsy reports of the Americans savagely murdered by illegals. But instead, their sanctuary leaders will proudly protect the migrants.
That's not going to happen on my watch. We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities.
We're not going to ask our police force to serve as ICE agents, operating with that madness.
The city of Los Angeles will not participate in any collaboration with ICE.
And Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu is among the worst.
We do not need the federal government's help in stepping in to cause mass fear. We have laws on the books that ensure that we do not cooperate on civil immigration detainers.
Safer? Now, these rapist migrants terrorized children. As you heard Holman say, destroyed their innocence, ripped it from them. Look at them, Mayor Wu. Read the police reports. Read the charging documents. For Open Borders Democrats, this isn't about safety. It's not about safety of the migrants. The migrants are being brutalized too. It's not about the safety of the American people. It's about politics and their own fanaticism. And even child rape, even a nursing student out for a run getting her head bashed in, it doesn't matter. Even migrant gangs terrorizing formerly quiet neighborhoods, none of it matters. Trump's approval rating is already at an all-time high of 54%. And it's only going to go higher if Democrats refuse to learn the real lessons of 2024. Their policies were destroying America's economy, our sovereignty, and our peace of mind. But if Democrats won't learn the obvious, they're not only stupid, well, they're giving great news to the Republican Party in 2026 and for J.D. Vance in 2028. And that,
guys, and I'm telling you this, like, it's heartbreaking, you know, when you're a parent and a lot of y'all know that you never want to hear that type of story. You never want to hear that news, but it's heartbreaking to hear that constantly. It's so one-sided that you have one political party who says, hey, let's put America first. Let's make sure our families are safe. Let's make sure that our kids are safe. And then the other party is saying, we got to protect migrants. Let's put them first. Let's take away money from the veterans and give it to illegal migrants. Like the constant, and it blows my mind because you got to think, you know, that are they being true? Is this all normal? But it's not. They just keep doing the same thing over and over. And right now, as we look at what's happening, and we're on the brink of World War III, what are they concerned about? It's not America first. It's about their own politics. Check this out.
Just hours after the strike, the Kremlin also threatened to attack a new U.S. defense base in Poland with, quote, advanced weapons in Poland. Meanwhile, Ukraine's former military commander-in-chief is warning that World War III has already begun because of the direct involvement of Russian allies in the war. This as senior North Korean general, a North Korean general was reportedly wounded in a recent Ukrainian strike on Russia's Kursk region, where more than 10,000 North Korean troops are deployed. Joining me now, former Trump Deputy National Security Advisor and CPAC board member, KT McFarland. KT, thanks very much for being here. Things are getting awfully serious here in this war.
Yeah, serious in two ways. I mean, one, President Trump has said he's going to negotiate an end to the war very quickly. The Russian president has said he's open to negotiations, and the Ukrainian president has said he's open to negotiations. And yet, who's not? It's the Biden administration. It's almost like the Biden administration has decided they're going to sabotage in advance any peace talks that President Trump might be able to have as he becomes president.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, when I say this is becoming serious, obviously I recognize this has been serious from day one. People are dying. It's just that now it looks like it's broadening out. You've got North Korea, you know, you've got China getting involved. You know, you've got, I mean, really, even as Russian president, as you just said, Vladimir Putin is reportedly open to ceasefire talks with Trump. Reuters is reporting that Putin is refusing to give up any land to Ukraine and wants Kyiv to drop its bid to join NATO. KT, would that be a deal you think that could happen to actually end this thing?
Well, President Trump has said, I just want to get him to the negotiating table. I want to get the two guys to the negotiating table. He's not prejudging any kind of negotiation and what it would look like. I mean, that's up to the two factors. What I'm worried about as I'm watching this is that we're creeping up this escalation ladder right now in the closing days of the Biden administration. And what would happen if, say, these American-made weapons used by Ukraine, if these missiles start killing a lot of Russian civilians, or when the Russians are now in response firing their long-range, medium-range missiles, what if they kill Americans? You know, the American ambassador has said, evacuate the American embassy, shelter in sight, shelter in a safe place. What if Americans died hit by a Russian missile? You'd have an outrage. I mean, it would be an outcry. We would be in a war, which none of us want, but we would be stumbling into really because of the incompetence of the outgoing days of the Biden administration.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. What is going on as Biden is walking out the door? You know, he's approving these long-range missiles for Ukraine to use inside of Russia, something that obviously has sparked Putin to think we're beginning World War III. He's easing restrictions at the border, coming up with this new app that allows migrants to just do it on the phone rather than going in person. And then, you know, this app doesn't even identify whether or not that person has a warrant, past crimes. What is going on in the Biden administration? They're trying to blow the place up as they walk out the door.
Yeah, they absolutely are trying to blow it up. And it's not Joe Biden. I mean, he hasn't been in charge in quite a while. It's the people around him who are really the same people who were in the Obama administration.
Good point, yeah.
They're so angry Trump won the first time they tried to sabotage any foreign policy moves President Trump would make in his first term. Now they're really mad, and they're just trying to sabotage President Trump and hoping that he fails, and so then they'll be back in charge. But what's happened is that they're putting the security of the United States at risk in their anger and their venom.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point. Meanwhile, let's talk about Israel for a moment. The International Criminal Court issuing arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. The ICC claiming that Netanyahu and Gallant have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity during Israel's war against Hamas. A spokesperson for the U.S. National Security Council says the court does not have jurisdiction and that the U.S., quote, fundamentally rejects this decision, KT. Of course, no mention of the fact that, it was Hamas on last October 7th who sparked this war.
Here there are two problems with this. One, the International Criminal Court, which the United States, by the way, we are not a signatory to that. So we don't go with their rulings. And when we're not a signatory because the Constitution is sovereign in the United States, not some global international body made up of unelected, faceless, nameless bureaucrats, global elitists. So we're not a signatory, but more than 100 countries are, including, for example, Great Britain. So technically, if, let's say, Bibi Netanyahu is going to visit Britain, or he wants to go to France, or he wants to stop over and change planes or refuel, he could be arrested. He could be put in handcuffs. He could be taken to the International Criminal Court and tried for war crimes. Now, this is an organization that has a history of being anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. It's like the world has gone crazy. Thank goodness. I mean, even in the closing days of the Biden administration, people are against that. And President Trump has already said, there'll be repercussions. If Britain or anybody else tries to arrest Bibi Netanyahu, there'll be repercussions with American foreign policy.
Well, I mean, how much of a trigger was Biden and Harris and their reluctance to fully support Israel? I mean, come on. They kept saying ironclad, Israel's ironclad. And then with the other side of their mouth saying, well, we're going to hold back weapons if we don't see a ceasefire tomorrow.
Yeah, and it was all done because the Biden administration wanted to get reelected, and they thought they needed Michigan and Minnesota and the Muslim American votes. Turned out that after all that, even then, they didn't get those voters. President Trump got those states. So they were willing to sacrifice Israel for their own reelection. They goofed up on that, too. But as a result, the world looks and says, oh, if there's a wedge, we can drive a wedge between Israel and the United States. This is the moment to do it. They're wrong.
Yeah. KT, always great to get your insights. We so appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I tell you this, when you have a real leader like Trump, things come together. So I don't know if y'all have noticed, but this was actually breaking earlier on the news that Trump met with the NATO chief. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has traveled to Florida to meet with Trump. They're all meeting at Mar-a-Lago. Like, I guess Mar-a-Lago is becoming the new, state capital or whatever, the new White House. I don't know if it's more like a goldish, beige color or something like that. But they were talking about the whole deal. Because remember, the only reason that Ukraine wants to be a part of NATO, Russia doesn't want Ukraine to be a part of NATO. They want, what's that city? It starts with the C. They want, or like a part of the land back. that they've taken, but this is where Trump is already making big headways. Remember, he's a deal maker. He wants to go in, work out a deal, and then everybody stop the war. But it was great that we actually saw this earlier, that he's already meeting with NATO people. Remember, the faster that we can get a deal on the board, January 20th cannot come fast enough. We're so close. And then Trump will be able to get in, negotiate, make a deal, stop all this war, as long as Biden would just stop. Because whether it's Biden or whether it's his people, we're clearly seeing sabotage trying to take place right now, trying to start a World War III. But that cannot happen. But we are so close to getting to peace. I can just feel it. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. We're praying for them. We're praying for our leaders, just making sure they make the right decisions. And hopefully we'll get to peace soon. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. We are here to serve you. And we just want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. We're so grateful for you all. Remember, the link is in the description to join if you want to become a part of the True Life News fam. And thank you to everybody that's given a super chat donation. Guys, I'm so happy this morning we made the donation to the Wounded Warriors. And we're going to be, I told you, we're going to be making everything legitimate. We're going to be making a website. We're going to be making and putting on there all the money and the dollar amounts that is being given up to year to date and all that. Because we just got to make sure we do it right, guys. There's a lot of legal matters that are starting to take place, talking with the accountants, CPAs, all that. And because we're giving it such a large, such like thousands of dollars in these donations, we got to make sure we do it right. We got to make sure we follow the law, guys. So we want to make sure that we do that. We'll be disclosing that on the new website whenever we get that up, because True Life News is going to give back 100%. And thank you so much to Sandra, Mario, Enzi, Judy Lid, Loving Spirit, Andy A and F, so much for the super chats. Y'all are amazing. We love y'all so much. And we're here to serve y'all. And we can't wait to see you in the next one. Remember, next month, we got our Christmas for Christ donation that we're going to be doing. And we can't wait to join together to give back to that charity. Love you all. Appreciate you and see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.